Today, we're talking about, is it wrong for Christians to support war? We may have different views on things, but that's the beauty of the body of Christ. When it comes to secondary issues, there can be latitude where we say, look, this is not an essential issue. We may hold our views tenaciously and feel strongly about them, but there has to be a grace that's involved to say, look, these are not essentials. And so while we can even debate them in a spirited way, at the end of the day, we need to have that gracious heart and attitude and can talk about things related to it. But we want to, talk about war because it's an important topic to tackle. I do believe war is necessary at times. I do believe that Christians are not in sin to engage in war. But what I have found is this glee among many Christians when it comes to war. They're hawkish, they're warmongers almost in attitude and mindset. You're talking about human lives, people made in the image of God.
Mothers and fathers and children.
Absolutely. War is not something to gloat about.
I do think that war is justifiable. Genesis chapter 14. Now, when Abram heard that his brother was taken captive, he armed his 318 trained servants who were born in his own house, and he went in to pursue as far as Dan. He divided his forces against them by night, and he and his servants attacked them and pursued them as far as Hobah, which is north of Damascus. So he brought back all the goods and also brought back his brother Lot and his goods, as well as the woman and all the people. Abraham did not write a letter to Sodom. He went to war. What is war? W-A-R?
We are right.
We are right? That's why we go to war. We go to war because we are right, and you feel the same thing. You feel that you're right, and that's why you're going to war with us.
I would say that there is that we are right aspect of war. Then I think there is the we are righteous aspect of war.
That's right.
Which is like there is a righteous cause in the defense of the innocent, in the defense, of a nation that's being unjustly attacked. And then I think there is the we are ruthless aspect of war. There are those that are just wicked, ruthless people that they don't care about people. They just want to conquer. They want to rule. They want power. I want to throw something to you in this vein. If some man broke into your house and began to attack your wife, would you stop them?
I would do all that I can to stop them, of course, and I would use whatever means that I can, and it would make sense to me. Their intention as they went across that barrier is to do harm.
Yeah.
Nothing else would make sense to me, though I would leave room in my mind right now that he could have ulterior motives, not to hurt, not to harm. I don't know what those would be, but that's not how you go about doing it.
No.
Right?
If someone came in and tried to attack your wife and your children, would you defend them?
I would use buckshot, and I would take them out.
Okay, Ray. If someone was attacking your next door neighbor, attempting to hurt them and murder them, and you had the ability to stop them, would you do that, or would you just turn a blind eye?
I'd use my starter pistol.
Starter pistol.
I'd send Lucy over there. But principally,
yes,
right?
Definitely. Yeah.
In my perspective, that's what just war is. And I would tie it to Romans 13, that the governing authorities do not bear the sword in vain. Now it's in an organized governmental fashion where the cause of war, as we expand that, is for the sake of defending those that are within your borders, within your boundaries.
It's easy to forget that war has radically changed in recent years.
Right.
We don't take up the sword and spill the blood of our enemy. We push a button and send a missile and blow him to pieces without seeing his blood.
Yeah, exactly. In recent days, the United States of America went and bombed Iran. The perception was that they were attempting to enrich uranium to create nuclear bombs. They are a nation that has sworn death to America. Not just a slogan, but it's in their charter. It's like their theology. Maybe we differ on this. I don't know. Like, what do you guys think? Oscar, what do you think about that? Do you think that what we did was just?
I'm going to give you an answer you're not going to like,
No.
which is, I don't know. Because
I like that answer.
I like
That's
that answer.
fine.
Do you like that answer?
I am.
Feel it in my heart.
I think yes, what we did was just in this current situation with Trump as president. But I also just know geopolitical stuff is really complicated, and I don't want to Dunning-Kruger myself into it.
What you're saying though is true in that we need to be careful, because I often think about WMDs, right? The whole weapons of mass destruction, and Saddam Hussein has them. At the same time, I think as well that we need to be careful, because then we would say, oh, well, then any kind of evidence we can't because of that, versus like, look, there may be different sources of intel. There may be ways that they came to that conclusion.
I want to say as a side note, I think it's really important, like The Atlantic is pretty anti-Trump. and they released an article a couple of days ago justifying Trump's actions.
Yeah.
And so I just want to say, like, it's interesting because right now there's quite a bit of people that would agree, even people who universally disagree with Trump
Yeah.
are backing him. And then there are people who have universally agreed with Trump who are not backing him, which is very interesting. So it's just very complicated. My expertise is not in geopolitical matters, which
Yeah.
is why I want to say, I don't know.
Yeah,
I
right.
think, but I don't know.
Yeah, what do we have? We only have what we've been told. We always got to remember that, right? If your only source of news is from Fox, you have a problem. If your only source of news is from CNN, you have a problem.
Yeah.
Who is really behind the news in which we get? We really got to be careful in the midst of this, right? I do
one
believe that
sense.
there are some extreme leftists
Yeah.
who would find fault in Trump. If Trump, I saw this on Fox News yesterday, if Trump were to eradicate cancer, some people on the far left would get upset at Trump for doing away with oncologists. Right? You have eliminated people in the workforce, right? But here's the thing, right? This isn't just leftists and CNN. This is on both sides.
Yeah.
Right? That Democrats can do no good in the eyes of some Republicans, demonized no matter what route you go, no matter what you take. So I would say, if the information that I received, which is to eliminate the ability of Iran to create these nuclear missiles, whatever it may be, that seems like a really good thing. I really do believe that their government wants to destroy America at all costs, that we are the infidel. I don't think there's any way around that.
We're talking about current war, Israel and Iran, and then the United States getting involved. You're somewhat, in my opinion, a World War II buff. I know that you've really explored a lot of World War II.
Wrote a book.
Your dad fought in it. You wrote a book on it. One of my favorite memorials in D.C. is a World War II memorial where you have these stars that are affixed to the wall. There's 400 stars, and each one of them represents 10,000 lives that were given in World War II. And at the bottom, it says, "Here we mark the price of freedom." I mean, sometimes it's easy for us to walk around and say, oh, forget war, this and that. Like those that are like hardcore pacifists, they're living in the benefits of those that went to war to defend us. So what do you think of something like World War II? Should the United States have gotten involved?
I think the United States should have got involved sooner than what they did. They were isolationists, but they were provoked to be isolationists by people who've been placed by the enemy within America. Fifth columnists, I think they were called, where they would cause strikes and all sorts of things to try and bring the nation down or create confusion. I just can't help but think 50 million people like us four guys died in that war. Why? Because some little twit that looked like Charlie Chaplin decided he wanted to rule the world.
Yeah.
Just because of that. It's just absolutely crazy. This whole world's a tinderbox.
Moving away from geopolitical matters for just a bit and back on just war as a theory in general, one of the guys who makes, I think, one of the strongest points for just war is a hero of mine who I quote often, which is C.S. Lewis.
Yeah.
He has a discussion on Luke 3:14 as a reminder. Jesus just got done calling the Pharisees a brood of vipers. He's in the middle of people are getting baptized and people are asking him, what should I do? A tax collector comes to him, what should I do? And he gives him advice. And then a centurion, that's someone enlisted in the army. The centurion is like, I just got baptized. What should I do with my life? And he says, be content with your wages. C.S. Lewis points out that Jesus never told the centurion to quit the army. He simply said, be content with your wages.
That's interesting.
I found this online. I think it was a really good summation. Like it's when war may be justified, when war is unjustified. So when war may be justified, defensive war, protecting citizens from aggression, justice for the oppressed, when diplomacy fails, resisting evil, preventing genocide or tyranny, and upholding order, maintaining a lawful society. And then when war is unjustified, greed, conquest, revenge, religious coercion, a disregard for civilians or unjust targeting, nationalism elevated above God's word. That's huge. It's a good summation to look at.
I am so refreshed by the heart from you guys. Truly, like I was expecting us to come to this from a different perspective and to hear the tension and the lament behind the reality that war is an unfortunate consequence to the fall. It's a part of the life that we live in and waiting for the kingdom to come that is both here and not yet. And to those who are listening, I want to offer like just a connection to the gospel. Why should we as Christians be hesitant to agree with war? We just talked about Iran and how much they hate America, death to America. The heart of every single man wages war on God in the same way that Iran wages war on us. In our heart of hearts, we're saying death to God. We are that World War II warmonger that wants control of the world away from God. And God does not drop a bomb on us. He could, but instead he offers peace. He bears the violence of the world. He doesn't return it. The gospel calls us to be peacemakers because God first made peace with us. So why, when we hear Iran saying death to America, should we still lament the unfortunate reality that we may have to go to war with them? Because we know that we said death to God and he offered peace.
Wow.
This video is part of the Living Waters podcast. To watch full episodes and explore more content that equips you in your faith, visit livingwaters.tv. You can listen to the full episode titled on the screen for free on all major podcast platforms.